I just want to show this photograph. Is this you and Clive?
Mm-hmm.
As babies? Look at you two. And your lovely wife, Steph, sent this to me.
Right.
And I thought this was really cool. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So, it's 1976. We're in Liverpool. So I am, I'm 21. How about that? Fuck me.
I know.
So we're almost 50 years on, because I turn 71 in a few weeks. And for those people who know their Liverpool geography, looking through the window, we're looking out on Belvedere Road, and it was a point where Clive was kind of ramping up filming on The Forbidden again, which was a thing that was rolling around for a few years, and it rolled on for a few years beyond that. It started out as an adaptation of Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus, the play, to make that as an adaptation for a film. Even by this time, it's become something completely different. And we're in a flat that two people who were both at Quarry Bank and were part of the group that had constellated around Clive. This was their flat, and they'd agreed to let Clive use a room in the flat, as we call them in England, apartment. And it was completely painted black, and that the circles on the window, Clive had put that in there because he wanted sunlight to come in through the window with those patterns. And we'd painted the floor. We'd stripped the room back to bare floorboards and painted those either white or alternately black and white. What you're seeing on the edge is the nailboard, as I call it. And this was purely a visual idea that Clive wanted to explore in the film. So I have to always think this backwards. He's got a piece of wood and he's painted it white, and he's put a gridiron pattern on it in black. And then at each intersection, he's put in a nail, a big, thick, like a 6-inch, 9-inch nail, big, chunky nail. And then just filming it flat on and swinging a light in front of it, so that the shadows of the nails moved across the board like a sundial. But then developing it in negative, so that now the nails appear as kind of ghostly grey things. The shadows are now white shadows on a black background with a white gridiron, and the shadows are white, which shadows ought not to be, and they're moving backwards and forwards on the nailboard.
That's crazy.
That's it. It's just a visual idea. It's one of the keys to the way that Clive works, always worked, with his imagination. There are lots of examples of this. Nothing's ever wasted. Nothing's ever forgotten. Everything's always in there. So as I say, this is 1976. 9 years later, 10 years later, 1986, we're turning the cameras on Hellraiser, and Clive has anthropomorphized the nailboard, and it's become the character who had no name, who became known as Pinhead.
It's wild.
None of the Cenobites have had any name. names.
Yeah, right.
In my own head, Pinhead doesn't. It was the special effects makeup crew who gave us the names when they were prepping the film, because I'm lead Cenobite, and then was chattering Cenobite.
Yeah, the chatterbox. I didn't like that guy either.
The fat Cenobite and the female Cenobite. They needed names for when they were working on the makeups in the workshop.
Yeah.
Are you working on the lead Cenobite today? It's a bit. So they gave us the names were their nicknames for us.
That's amazing.
Pinhead, Butterball, Chatterer, and the female Cenobite was called Deep Throat.
I didn't know that.
Which may be the reason why she continued to be credited as the female Cenobite. But so in the preparation of the film, they had all been talking about Pinhead and Butterball and Chatterer. And so when we went on set, those were the names that were being used. And they stuck, so that by the time certainly Hellbound came out, the press were talking about Pinhead.
Oh my gosh.
But in my mind, he has no name. Nobody ever called him Pinhead in the movies. He was called a Pinhead.
But as
once,
human,
but that's a different thing.
What was his name as a human?
Spencer Elliott, captain in the British Army in the First World War.
Old timey. He had a pith helmet.
When we see him at the beginning of Hellbound, it's probably 1921. He's stayed in the British Army, and he's he would be the reason that we see him in tropical uniform is that he's probably now engaged in putting down the Indian mutinies in the early 1920s.
There it is.
You get a little clue with the voice on the radio, which is talking in, say, Indian. That's ridiculous. There's no such language, but whatever, Urdu or Hindi or whatever language it is that you hear, which is just a little clue as to where we are.
Not English, am I right?
And there is his pith helmet.
There's the pith helmet.
And that's why he's got a pith helmet, because he's out in India. And there would have been scenes preceding this of him in an Indian street bazaar, making his way, looking for the place that he's been told sells lament configurations.
The puzzle box.
And then he would have gone in, and then you would have had the standard Hellraiser transaction scene.
What's your pleasure, sir?
What's it worth, and all of that. And that inside. Now, we'd had a big bump up in budget from Hellraiser to Hellbound, but then there was a financial crisis, and as the money was being moved from Los Angeles to London, the exchange rates went crazy and wiped about a third off the budget by the time the money was in London. And New World couldn't make up the money. There was even talk about postponing filming until things settled down a bit, but we went ahead.
Didn't.
And so those two scenes prior to this moment, which really only
it's so hard to watch. I still can't.
Only because they they would have required two sets building, and they're only establishing scenes.
Yeah, you don't need to do that for an establishing scene.
They went, which was a shame.
Oh, you just watched a YMH highlight. Did you love it? Why don't you have more fun? Click around. Click here, click there, click everywhere. Put a clicker in your beehole. Look, try it out. Have more fun. Why don't you subscribe? That way, every time a video drops, you can be notified. You don't have to think about it. Just do it, man. You're not going to miss a moment of denim. Pull your jeans up, subscribe.